Firstly, for the people that say, oh, the babies don't even know what's going on, if you actually look on the website, it's an organisation specifically targeted at babies. For something to be baby sensory, you are obviously going to curate, as they've said, the activities to children. The question is, why do men and women wearing barely any clothing, wearing nipple tassels, wearing bondage gear and stripper heels and thongs, need to be performing for children?
What did I just see? What did I just...
I've never understood for the need for drag shows for children specifically. And I've never heard an explanation of why that's needed or beneficial in any way or even encouraged.
I've actually heard an explanation. I went on the Universal Thoughts podcast the other day, and we had this guy on who's a Marxist/communist, and the drag thing came up. And he was saying the reason that they do it is to teach inclusivity, which is a really, really weak argument considering what you just saw in that video.
Inclusivity to babies.
To babies.
These are babies who can't even talk yet, who can't even walk yet. Like, we're talking, those babies looked like sort of fresh newborn babies. I'm sorry, but where are they learning inclusivity from this to start off with? The whole concept makes absolutely no sense. And it's just ridiculous that we've gotten to a point in this world where that's even a thing.
I feel like to start off the whole thing, I think the whole drag show for kids is fine. And the reason is because I just see it as a form of art. It's no different than like music or theater, stuff like that. So for me, it's really normal. It's really not that deep.
It's mad to me that you would have a man in a thong prancing around children, whether they were babies or even 12-year-olds. It makes no sense to me. I don't understand why people can't see there's something weird going on here. I can't understand why people are turning a blind eye to it. Drag queens in schools, that sentence doesn't make any sense in my head.
Yeah.
It makes no sense whatsoever.
Not everyone wants to or is interested in seeing a drag show. It's more so if that's, I don't know if you could call it a hobby or something you enjoy doing. Like I might enjoy going to the theatre to watch on-stage performances. Some people might not enjoy that. So doing drag shows, it shouldn't be based on inclusivity. It's supposed to be a fun, outgoing thing for people to do who want to go and enjoy that sort of show.
Yeah, and the thing is that I've seen that in America they're passing a law to ban, it's not specifically drag, but anything that is sort of sexual where children are is being banned, which is it's crazy that you even have to pass a law like that. But obviously inadvertently, family-friendly drag shows are being banned. That sentence makes no sense. And you've got people that are outraged saying that their art form is being suppressed. But as far as I'm aware, nobody cares that people do drag. The reason people are angry is because there's drag queens in school. But I'm not interested in what drag queens do in their personal time. Yeah,
in this video though, the clip that's been shown, it's not even necessarily a drag show of just a man dressed up in heels dancing and singing about. This is men in thongs on like poles and ropes jumping about. That's different.
Do you know what spins me is that I asked this communist guy, and I'll edit some clips into this for these guys to see, but I asked him, why is it that it's always drag queens and never strippers? Never female strippers? Never. You never see a female stripper in school. No, I'm not saying that they should be in school. They definitely shouldn't. But why is it always drag queens and not female strippers? Where are the female burlesque dancers? Forget strippers. What about just regular female burlesque? Why is it always drag queen?
Drag, the ones that I've been around, and which has been a lot, are very, very sexual. Both what happens backstage and what is happening in front of people. They're not a place for children. I don't have a problem with drag myself. My issue is that drag is not a place for children, and it's definitely not a place, it doesn't have a place in school. The same way I wouldn't have a female burlesque dancer come to my child's school and read them story time. It makes no sense. First of all, why specifically drag queens? It's always drag queens. You don't really see it deviate from that. And secondly, what does a drag queen know about sex that I don't know, or a firefighter doesn't know, or any other profession? Why is it always drag queens in schools? To the point where schools down here have had to tell drag queens to not come down to their schools. They've shut down schools. They shut down a school they shut down the sex ed in the Isle of Man because there was a drag queen teaching children about 73 genders. And then there was a teacher. No, I know it sounds funny, but this is what's happening. That one of the students pushed back and said there's only 2 genders, and that student was sent out of the class. So my problem is not that drag exists. I have no problem with drag existing. I have no problem with people expressing themselves however they want to. But drag belongs in a specific space, and it's not in the education system.
I haven't heard a strong argument for why they should be in schools. And I've also seen people just turning a blind eye, like pretending this isn't happening now, pretending that this is just conservatives or right-wing people kicking up a fuss for no reason. But there's literally videos of it everywhere. It's not just in America now. It's not just in the UK. It's in Europe as well. People are protesting about it all over the place. And I don't understand how we got to this point in our society where adults want their kids to be exposed to grown men that are basically naked. It feels like just yesterday where we all unanimously agreed that this is fucked up, that you would never take your kid to some sort of performance like that. And now I don't know, like I'm confused. I'm at a loss for words.
I mean, I can see the inclusivity argument having some weight in informing kids about transgenderism, where that is not a very mainstream thing that used to be talked about. And maybe letting them get exposed to a person that is transgender in a setting like a reading hour where a transgender person is reading to them, just to show them this is just a normal person who does normal things. And, you know, if they put on a character while they're reading and stuff like that, it makes it a whole experience. Fine, I can see a case for that.
What is the case for that?
But just exposing them to transgender people just to give them the experience of, okay, this is a person that is dealing with this particular issue in their life, but they're not a freak. They're a normal person.
But all types of people deal with issues. All types of people have mental health issues or whatnot.
That's fine, but
why specifically trans and drag?
Would you hold up? So both of you would class this as an issue that someone's going through?
No, you're talking about transgenders, but drag queens, we don't know if they're trans or not. They're just men in drag, right? So that's the problem here. The transgender thing is another issue entirely. The drag queen thing, specifically drag is male burlesque. Why would you have a man in dress up in school reading stories to children?
I mean, we have men in dress up in movies, in like pantomime, in all kinds of forms of art.
But they have an age rating.
No, pantomimes don't. You can take your children to see a pantomime. There's a man dressed as a woman.
Yeah, but is it drag or is it like the theatre where sometimes...
What's the difference? If it's a man dressed as a woman just reading to your children a book for an hour...
There's a big difference. There's women that portray historical characters in plays. I know a girl that portrayed Henry VIII, and I know a guy that portrayed Anne Boleyn. Okay. But that's not drag. That's just you portraying another character. I've been doing that in theatre for a long time. Drag's something completely different. It is male burlesque, you know. The pantomime is not burlesque.
Okay. Do you think there's no space for where a man is dressing up as a woman in order to entertain children without them getting naked?
No, there's no space.
Without them getting sexual.
Unless they're portraying a character, like if it's like what we're talking about, like Henry VIII or like historical things, or just a play that someone's written, and it's not inherently sexual, which drag is. Drag is inherently sexual. Drag queens themselves have said that they don't understand why there are drag queens in schools, and all of the clips that we have seen with drag queens in schools look wildly inappropriate.
Just like this clip as well. This clip was inappropriate.
Yeah, I mean, this clip is definitely inappropriate, absolutely.
And it doesn't need to be for babies like that either.
Babies? Babies don't know left from right, bruv.
There's nothing in this clip that I agree with, yes. But
you acknowledge the difference between like a pantomime and a drag show.
Have you been to a like drag queen reading hour? Or have you been to
No,
I
haven't been to a drag queen reading hour.
It's explicitly sexual. I can see there being a setting where they're coming in to read to children for like reading hour. And it's not sexual, they're just dressed up as a woman, performing as a woman.
Okay, so then why do you think it's always men? Why is it not the other way around?
I don't know.
Don't you think that's a bit nefarious? I mean, I don't think that they should be reading stories to children. I think if you're an educator, that's your job. You wouldn't bring a fireman in to read a story to kids. You wouldn't bring someone that works in the pantomime to read to kids. The educators do that. Why is a drag queen someone that works explicitly in the
Reading
adult.
to someone does not have to be purely educational. It could just be for entertainment
So
purposes.
should we have porn
Reading
stars?
out loud?
Porn stars in schools.
Are drag queens the same as porn stars?
Well,
if
if
they're
they-
just dressing up as women.
Yeah, but if a
Well,
porn
the
star
porn star-
came in
Does-
to read, you're not going to know that they're a porn star because they're just there reading.
Does
Yeah.
dressing up as a woman and putting on a, say, an animated reading hour for children, is that explicitly sexual?
It's inappropriate
Why?
given the profession they're doing. A porn star is not going to come in with tassels on her boobs. She's going to come in dressed like a normal person. But at the end of the day, I would ask the teacher, why did you bring a porn star into school?
But I'm saying drag queens are not all porn stars.
I'm not saying they're porn stars. I'm saying it's inappropriate to have those people in those professions in schools. The same way, if someone told you that a stripper was reading to your kid, stripper might not be stripping at the time,
Yeah.
but they would say, why is a stripper reading to my child? It doesn't make any sense. Why specifically are those people that work in the adult entertainment industry?
I guess, I don't know. I guess I don't have a full understanding of what a drag queen is.
It's you. All right,
I guess
you-
I'm seeing a space where they can be non-sexual,
yeah,
which
but
I might be wrong about though. So
no, drag, I mean, they're people, right? So they're not always doing what they're doing on stage or what they're doing in their profession. But
right,
these people work in the adult entertainment industry. It's like if you met someone in the red light
all of
district.
them.
Yeah,
Every
the-
single
Yeah,
the
because
drag.
drag is like Michael saying, it's a form of entertainment. It's not actually most.
Is it exclusively a form of sexual entertainment?
Most drag queens aren't walking around in drag every day. They're dressing up in the evening, doing their drag show, and then going home.
Okay, and do drag shows have to be explicitly sexual in order to be categorized as a drag show?
Well, drag shows fall under the adult entertainment industry. So you could argue that you could have every single person in the adult entertainment industry doing something that is not necessarily for adults at the time, but their profession is inherently sexual. And what my problem is that you're not seeing drag story hour one day, fireman story hour the other day, police officer story hour the other day. You're just seeing drag. It's just drag. It's just men.
I don't know if I agree with that. I don't know if I've looked into story hours enough to know if there's just drag, if it's just drag.
Even if it wasn't just drag, let's just say for argument's sake, it wasn't just drag. I still don't understand why you would have someone come into from the adult entertainment industry to read to children. It makes no, I mean, first of all, if you're not reading something that is sexual to them, it doesn't even pertain to your industry, and you
Yeah.
shouldn't be reading something sexual to them. So then if you're not reading something sexual to them, which you shouldn't be anyway, and you're reading a regular book, why can't the teacher just read it to them?
I just don't see why they always feel the need to expose children to such adult things. Their time, like their day and time, will come once they start being exposed to that stuff when it's relevant and appropriate to. But you can't say having a drag queen reading a book in a school or babies watching drag shows is about inclusivity, because it's unnecessary. They don't need to be exposed to that.
Yeah, and no one's saying that you can't acknowledge that people do things that deviate from the norm, but there's ways to go about it. If anyone thinks that this is the only way to educate children, then they're stupid. This is the only way you can come up to educate people, by bringing drag queens in to read to children, and then by having men in thongs prance around in front of babies. All of the people that are partaking in this, including the drag queens that are partaking in this, not the ones that are speaking out against it, because they are, and people are they're obviously getting silenced like usual. All of you are sick. You're all sick in the head. You work in the adult entertainment industry. If they were bringing strippers into school, I would have a problem with it. If there were a bunch of Colombian strippers walking around the school reading to kids, I would say, why? Why are there strippers in school? If you had girls that worked on JAV, right?
What's JAV?
It's Japanese. You would say, why? I don't have a problem with them. I don't have a problem with the Colombian strippers. I don't even have a problem with drag queens. I have a problem with them being in schools. And it baffles me how people they'll come on here, they'll jump on the comment section, or they'll do video responses angry at people that are angry that there are people that work in the adult entertainment industry in the school, as if there's no other way to educate children about different professions and different ways of living. You have to have these people in the school. These schools are lucky that I'm not a parent, bruv. That's all I'm saying. That would not fly.
Pause.
Pause. I didn't say anything gay.
I'm a father of 3 children. If anyone took my kids to see that sort of show,
Not compulsory, Adam.
I would string them up, right? That is disgusting.
To
It's
you,
perverted. It's depraved.
in your opinion.
Did she say that's not compulsory? What is this? What is going on with these people? These people are sick in the head. This is wrong. Like It shouldn't be a thing where a parent has to opt their child out of going to a drag show. I feel like I'm in the upside down. Taking a kid to a drag show is crazy. You've lost in the. I say this all the time. In the pursuit of trying to be inclusive, these people have actually lost touch with reality. Nobody here hates drag queens. I ain't got no beef for them. I have a beef for them being in certain settings. What example can I use?
You've used enough examples.
You know, there's just a time and place for things. You know, like imagine you were
And
like
an age.
Yeah, and an age. You imagine you were training for something and there's someone there holding a cheeseburger in your face, right? You're going to the gym, you're running, whatever, and every time you go to the gym, I've got a cheeseburger in your face. You don't hate cheeseburgers, right? But it's not the time and place for it. I don't know what other analogy to use because this is so wacky that people are arguing for this. I feel like I can only use stupid analogies. I couldn't think of anything else. This situation is ridiculous.
No. Would you take your child to that?
Firstly, that's
Because
for,
if
that's for
you
babies,
would-
so it's basically more for the parents. So I remember when my son was
Would you
born,
take your child to that?
So the local cinema used to do
One
a...
second.
can I answer your question?
Would you take your child to that show?
Any sexualisation of that would go completely over the baby's head,
That is
and they would see
ridiculous.
colours, makeup and fun, and hear the
I will go as
music.
far to say,
so can I
Patrick,
give you
anyone
example?
that takes their child to that needs their hard drive checked.
You know-
it's perverted and depraved.
Yeah, it's completely legal. There's nothing illegal going on.
thing
It's
is,
a personal choice.
well, we don't know.
So what's the point then?
Put that woman on an FBI watch list.
What is the point? What is the point? Or if it's about colours and this, that and the other, then just take them to see a Peppa Pig show or Disney on Ice or something. Like what? Like why?
You might as well just take the kid to a brothel then. You might as well just leave them.
You're not wrong.
Put them in front of the TV. Turn on Pornhub. No harm done, right? Like what? Who are these people? Like I feel like I feel like Satan's soldiers walk among us, bro. In the flesh. She should be on an FBI watch list just for saying that. No, that woman's sick in the head, man. If cancel culture ever needs to do its thing, that's it right there. I'm sorry, but if your argument is they're not going to understand what's going on, why even bring them in the first place? And if that is your logic, then I have to call into question what you're letting them do and what you're letting them watch. Are you just letting them sit in front of Riley Reid all day? Are you like going to brothels with your kid to show them what women are doing in the late hours of the day? Like I don't understand. Where is the limit here? This is why I'm not for this inclusivity nonsense, bro.
But
It's
I don't
bullshit.
care what this has to do with inclusivity.
It has nothing to do with it. It's just a
We're
word
talking
now.
children here. Like that shouldn't even be a thing.
They've bastardized what it means. That's the problem here. These people are whack jobs. We should all stand against them. I don't support this stuff at all. I think it's sick and depraved. They should be put on a watch list. Her child should probably be taken from her for saying that on live TV.
I know, national television, you know.
She said it with her chest.
Yeah.
Said it with her whole chest.
I'm so glad that guy literally just said what he said
Yeah.
and stood his ground, you know what I mean? Because everyone tries to cancel people like him when he's the logical thinker here.
No, this is going to come full circle. This BS that they're trying to push on everyone. The thing is that because we operate in this space, we see this stuff like long before it becomes mainstream. So a lot of people that pay attention to politics and social, like the way society is moving, will see this stuff first. But what's happening now is that regular people are starting to see this now. Even my cousin the other day brought it up to me. Did you know they're doing this in the school? And I said, yeah. A year, like she's only just found out now. Regular people are going to find out about this. People are not interested in right and left and politics, and they're just going to see that this is sick. This has nothing to do with conservative. It's nothing to do with being liberal. These are just a bunch of sick people trying to push their sick, twisted ideas on the next generation. They're trying to f*** up the next generation. That's what's happening here. They're trying to f*** your kids up. You need to protect your kids. You need to protect your kids from these monsters. Unfortunately, they're in the schools and you drop them off there. And it's obviously not all teachers, but there's clearly enough of them for them to get on live TV to be spouting some BS like that. I don't know, man. I don't have much else to say. I mean, I feel like we talk about this stuff so much, and every time I see a new clip, it just spins me.
That one definitely spun me.
That's all I got. Fucking monsters, bro.